Hello, everyone. This is the Insert Title Show, and I'm your host, Wolf Strife. On this episode, I'm going to be talking about my favorite TV show of all time, The Simpsons. I'm a huge Simpsons fan. I always have been. I can't even remember life before The Simpsons. I owe my sense of humor to this one show, basically. This show has influenced me since I can't remember. This show was always there, and it's always been my favorite TV show. The show basically got started in 1987, like a lot of good things. That was the year I was born, and that was also the same year that my favorite video game series of all time, the Metal Gear series, came out. So a lot of good things happened in 1987, I guess. Basically, what happened was a big-time TV producer, James L. Brooks, discovered a very funny comic strip series called Life in Hell that was made by a Matt Groening, and James L. Brooks liked the comic strip so much that he actually got in contact with Matt Groening, and over the course of several months, if not a couple of years, they developed The Simpsons as a animated short on the Tracy Ullman Show. So that's actually where The Simpsons got started. So I think The Simpsons first premiered like April 19th, 1987, so I was about a month and a half old. So that's a while ago. So yeah, they premiered on the Tracy Ullman Show, which I guess was like a skit show. I don't know, never really watched it or even really knew about it before watching the commentary tracks on the DVD box seasons or whatever. Speaking of DVD box seasons, I actually own season 1 through 16 of The Simpsons. So, yeah, I've been buying those for a while. I think I bought season 1 in like 2001 or 2, I guess. Unfortunately, they stopped doing the DVDs after, I guess, season 17 was the last one. They basically stopped because of digital streaming and stuff, and they also had that big contract with FXX. That was like the biggest contract in history or whatever. I think FXX paid like $750 million to have all the Simpsons episodes on their channel. So, yeah, I guess I can understand that they want to keep it, on FXX, and they want to have it be digitally streamed. But it still sucks. I would like to own all the seasons, but whatever, I guess. Yeah, just because, the DVDs were so well done. They had commentary tracks on every single episode. There was a lot of animation things, like showcasing the animation and how it was done and stuff. And even the menus and stuff were fun. So, yeah, I definitely wish they would have kept up with the DVD productions, but whatever. I guess one day I'll buy season 17, but I don't know. I'm kind of good right now. I do wish they had been able to do season 18, because that was the season that Metallica guest starred, so that would have been interesting if they could have got them to do a commentary on that episode or something. But yeah, anywho, The Simpsons were such a huge success on the Tracy Ullman Show that Fox wanted to do a 30-minute TV series with them. So the first episode of The Simpsons debuted on December 17th, 1989. So I would have been 2 going on 3, so that's probably why I can't remember life before The Simpsons. Now, I know The Simpsons get a lot of crap for the decline in quality, especially, well, I guess the first 10 seasons is kind of considered the golden years. So after that, it's kind of when the decline is quite noticeable or whatever. But, guys, you gotta remember the first... Well, I would say, yeah, the first 10 seasons are the golden years, but the true creme de la creme is the first 5 seasons. Seasons 1 through 5. That's when they were running on all cylinders. They had the best writers in TV history. They had great animation directors. The voice actors were You know, they were still kind of figuring out the voices and stuff, but I mean, they were great too. Yeah, the first 5 seasons just had an amazing writing team. I mean, John Swartzwelder, I'm a huge fan of his episodes. I think he's the most prolific Simpsons writer. I think he's done over 70 episodes. And I'm sure if you look at a list of all the Simpsons episodes, a lot of your favorite ones were written by John Swartzwelder. Another great one is John Beatty. You got George Meyer. Al Jean and Mike Reese were a great team. Conan O'Brien did a bunch of good episodes. I mean, just amazing, amazing writers. And a lot of the animation directors were great too. Like, I think the most prolific Simpsons director is David Silverman, who's great. Brad Bird directed a lot of episodes. He would go on to I think, a lot of the directors would actually leave the show to go work for Disney or DreamWorks or Pixar. Like Brad Bird, I think, would go on to do The Incredibles, Ratatouille, you know, all that kind of stuff. Some other good directors were Wes Archer. I think Rich Moore did a couple of good ones. I mean, they would just, you know, running on all cylinders. I mean, the first 5 seasons were holy shit. Yeah. And that's not to say that seasons 6 through 10 sucked. I mean, they were great seasons too, but I think the best were definitely seasons 1 through 5. And of course, I can't do an episode about The Simpsons without mentioning the voice actors. I mean, Dan Castellaneta does the voice of Homer. I mean, Jesus Christ. That's probably the greatest cartoon character of all time. And that's saying a lot if you think about it. He does Grandpa, Barney, Krusty, Groundskeeper, Willie. I mean, just jeez. Yeah, one interesting thing I forgot to mention about Matt Groening, he actually named The Simpsons after his own family. Like his father's real name is Homer. I'm sure he loves having Homer Simpson named after him. His mom is Marge, or Marjorie, or whatever. He has a sister, Lisa. And he didn't want to name Bart after himself, so he did like an anagram of Brat. So Bart, Brat, get it? Another voice actor, Julie Kavner, does Marge, Patty, and Selma. That's excellent. I mean, Patty and Selma are just holy shit. And Marge, I mean, she's great too. I mean, the characters that's why this show is so great. I mean, the characters, you know, the writing and everything. I mean, I love the show. I mean, what can I say? It's my favorite TV show. It always has been, always will be. Nancy Cartwright does Bart. I mean, holy shit. Iconic cartoon character. She does Nelson Muntz. That was a fucking great voice. Ralph. My God. I am special. Todd Flanders and a couple other characters here and there. Yardley Smith does Lisa. And I think the unsung heroes of the voice acting cast are definitely Hank Azaria and Harry Shearer. I mean, Hank Azaria does Moe, Chief Wiggum, Apu, Comic Book Guy, Cletus, the Slack-jawed yokel. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Dr. Nick Riviera. Harry Shearer does Mr. Burns, Mr. Smithers, Ned Flanders, Reverend Lovejoy, Kent Brockman, Lenny, Principal Skinner, Otto. I mean, he's really important for the show, and they almost lost him. I think it was a season or two ago. Yeah, money disputes, I guess, or whatever. But yeah, just an amazing, amazing voice cast. Even the music is awesome. I mean, the great Danny Elfman did the main theme. You know, the dun 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 dun. And Alf Clausen does the regular music for the show. And he does a fantastic job. I mean, if you look at just the music of all these episodes and stuff, I mean, there's really some great stuff in there. I mean, probably once a month I get Rock Me Dr. Zayas stuck in my head. So, I mean, it's just an excellent show. I mean, everything works. And this show was huge when it first came out. I mean, they were getting like 20 million plus views an episode. I mean, this show was huge. Absolutely huge in the early 90s. I mean, when I was a kid, I don't even think I really watched the show, but I knew about the show, you know. Maybe I would catch an episode like once a month or something. But then there were toys, t-shirts, video games. There were actually some pretty good video games out there. Yeah, I think the one I remember the most was called Virtual Bart. I don't even know what the hell I played that on. I guess the Sega Genesis, I guess. It was kind of interesting. Then, of course, you had the Simpsons arcade game, which was this kind of a side-scroller where you would beat people up and shit. But yeah, like I said, I mean, the Simpsons were just huge in the early 90s. I mean, they were everywhere. Everywhere. But I probably didn't start really getting to see a lot of episodes until like the late 90s, early 2000s. Mainly because I've always been terrible at knowing when a show was coming on, like a brand new episode or whatever. I was always like, what the hell day does The Simpsons come on? Tuesday? Wednesday? What? When it was actually like Sunday. But to be fair, I think they did kind of move the series around a little bit. Like I think in the early 90s they moved it to Thursday or something to go up against The Cosby Show, which kind of hurt the series and the ratings. But yeah, I could just never figure out when The Simpsons were on. But then in the late 90s, I kind of found out, and I think they were on Sunday nights or whatever. So I'd watch, let's see, I think it would be Malcolm in the Middle, which I hated. Then Futurama, which I actually hated at the time, even though now it's one of my favorite TV shows. And then The Simpsons, and then after that, I think would be Family Guy. I think I hated Futurama just because I didn't get the science fiction references and jokes, and I hated having to wait for The Simpsons to come on. I mean, that's how big of a fan of The Simpsons I was. So I didn't really like Futurama until I got to watch it by itself on Adult Swim in like 2003 or 4, I guess, was when I was like, hey, I get this show now. Yeah, that was another show that a lot of the writers and directors and people went to go and do after working on The Simpsons. Yeah, that's probably why Futurama was such a great show too. And then, of course, the WB started showing The Simpsons, and that's when I really got to see a shitload of episodes. Because I think they would show 2 Simpsons episodes a night, I guess at like 7 o'clock, so I would get home from work, plop down, eat dinner, and watch 2 Simpsons episodes. So that's when I got to see a lot of Simpsons episodes. Of course, by then I was already buying some of the seasons, so yeah. Alright, I guess it's time to actually get to it. Alright, Season 1. I absolutely love Season 1. It's definitely one of my favorite seasons. Might be my second or third favorite season, actually. Let's see. The first episode of The Simpsons was Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire. This debuted December 17th, 1989. It got 26 million views. Holy shit. You know how fucking big that would be nowadays? That would be like Walking Dead numbers. I hate that show, but whatever. Let's see. This is a great episode. It's a Christmas episode. And it's a really good one. I really like it. It's definitely a good one to watch during the holidays. I definitely try to watch it every Christmas. It's basically the episode where the family gets the dog, Santa's little helper. So that's definitely a good one. Let's see, what else? There's No Disgrace Like Home. That was a good one. That was that famous one where the family gets shock therapy. Bart the General. That was a very important and influential episode on me as a kid. Yeah, that was directed by the great David Silverman and written, of course, by John Swartzwelder. This is maybe in my top 3 favorite episodes, actually. And it was the first episode I think Nelson Muntz showed up in, so that was a really big episode. Basically, Bart is getting bullied, and he ends up waging a war against the bullies and stuff with the other kids in the neighborhood. So this kind of influenced me into waging war in my neighborhood as a kid. Except in the show they use water balloons, but in my neighborhood we used magnolia tree seeds and BB guns. So very painful, very painful. But yeah, that was an absolutely great episode. Call of the Simpsons, great episode. Again, written by John Swartzwelder. That's when the family gets lost in the woods. I love how it's only episode 7 and the family's already lost in the woods. But, that was pretty damn unique for the time, I guess. Let's see. Life in the Fast Lane, that was a big episode. I think that one got 33 million views. That still might be the most watched Simpsons episode of all time. That one has that great ending with the rip-off of an officer and a gentleman. Yeah, that was a great one. The Crepes of Wrath, that's an absolutely great episode. That's when Bart, I think he does a student exchange program or whatever, gets to go and live over in France and stuff. Yeah, that's a great one. And Krusty Gets Busted is a big one, because that was the first episode that Sideshow Bob turned bad, and you had the great Kelsey Grammer do the voice of Sideshow Bob. That's kind of crazy that Sideshow Bob goes all the way back to season 1. So that's when his feud against Bart started. I think that was directed by Brad Bird. Yeah, I think he was a big Krusty fan. Well, who doesn't love Krusty? I mean, come on. And then the last episode of the season was Some Enchanted Evening. That was when Marge and Homer kind of go on a date and stuff, and the great Miss Botts gets to babysit the kids. God, most ghoulish babysitter ever. So yeah, that was a great way to end the season, and that's an absolutely great season. I know this was kind of in the Bart era, when he was kind of the main character before Homer kind of took over, but Homer's great, everybody's great, so yeah, season 1, excellent. So definitely, if you want to check out season 1, definitely go and buy it, or hell, watch it on TV or stream it, whatever. But definitely check out every episode of season 1. It's great.